Find my other document. All right. Tips for multiple choice tests.
C.
Make
What?
a pattern.
No, C.
Oh, I thought you were speaking Spanish. I was like, this is an English only class, sir. English only. Just joking, just joking. All right. He said C. All right. So, the things to watch out for multiple choice tests, and actually this will be for all tests, are words like all, never, most, always, Coca-Cola. Remember that commercial? Always Coca-Cola. No, okay, yeah. Hey, look, it's late. Okay, it's late. What's the problems? What's the problem with these words? What's the problem with it? They trick you. How?
Don't read carefully, you'll get the problem.
Okay, you'll get the problem wrong, but what's the problem with these words in particular? These are absolute words, which means, is there ever all of anything that as a rule will fall into that? For example, all people do this. No, except for death and taxes. But to use words like all or never or always, sometimes most too, but these are words that are designed to lead you astray in a test. Okay? The only time it might be all is if it's a specific category of thing that it's a lot smaller than the general population. But if you see all, never, most, always, I'm trying to think of the other words that go with that. Your answer is probably going to be wrong, or it won't be that. All of the above is a whole different kind of thing, and we'll get to that too. What's the best way to do multiple choice questions? If you don't get a negative score for answering questions, when it comes to multiple choice questions, it's better to guess than to leave them blank. Okay? Typically, multiple choice questions have 3, maybe 4 answers. You got a 1 out of 4 possibility of getting them right. Right?
But eliminate the ones that you absolutely know are not.
Yep, and the ones you absolutely know aren't, and play that game. What's that? How to be a, what's the lady? She says you're fine. No, how to weak link or yes, the weakest link. No, billionaire. How to be a billionaire. No, no. Is that the weakest link? No, I don't know. It's one of those.
Where she's basically at the table, and they face each other, and they're like,
Yeah, who wants to be the weakest link or something? Right? It's one of those games. I don't have cable, so I don't know. All right. I know, it's crazy. Yeah, so obviously eliminate the ones that you know for sure aren't that. And then if you have to, guess. Right? True or false questions. Again, these words are key to true or false questions. Because, first of all, you have a 50-50 shot, so answer them first. Right? Eeny, tinky, winky, pinky, whatever, however you do. Is that what you guys used to do? No. What was the name of the game? What is an any mini?
I don't know.
It works.
You ever thought about
It's just another way to move the finger, another word.
Like, hey, you mean it matters
And then when you
wrong.
don't like that one, you just keep going with it. And
Yeah. Or what's the other one? When you take the flowers, he's spraying that Rasmussen
Bacterial
hand
spray.
bacterial spray.
Oh,
That
that's
if you
sick.
drink too much of that in high school, you'll get expelled. The kids were looking at and getting high. When
people in
H1.
treatment drink mouthwash to get a buzz.
What?
I used to know a gal that she would go and buy NyQuil, like 4 and 5 bottles of it.
And just hit them up.
Yeah.
They had an intervention with the mouthwash lady. She would just sit there and drink jugs of mouthwash and just get all moved up. It's not an intervention. Gotta be.
Yeah. That's called sipping on syrup. The NyQuil
Yeah.
thing.
Rubber
Sipping on
test.
some syrup.
There's a lot of rappers that I agree with that.
All right. I know little Dwayne does
Lil
that.
Wayne.
Little Dwayne.
Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
Lil Wayne.
Little Wayne.
Or Lil.
Who's little Dwayne?
There's
Yeah,
no-
that's in your imagination.
Oh.
I'm sure there's probably a little Dwayne out there, but
So who's the dude with the guitar that never plays it and walks around?
that's Lil Wayne.
Oh. Dwayne must be his brother.
brother.
His other brother. From another mother.
That's why he's always got a cup in his hand.
And then a minute, that dude is out there. He's out there. What profiteth a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? But that's a whole nother lesson.
We're not taking that class.
You're not taking that class. So the trick of essay questions, the best way to start an essay question is how?
Start at the beginning.
So, just like you eat an elephant, one bite at a time, right? Turn the question into a statement. All right?
Start off with that.
Start off with that. So what is the relevance of the 1964 Civil Rights Act? Essay question. The relevance of the 1964 Act is that it enabled all people to be employed by blah, 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 right? So you take the question and you flip that puppy. Right? So that's a good way to start. Now, and it's very interesting when you do essay questions because there's basically two types. There's the what, and then there's the so what, now what combination kind of thing. So oftentimes in essay questions, they want to know, give me some facts. I want to understand what you know. And then the other is just your opinion. And this what, so now what kind of thing is about your opinion. So essay questions come in two forms. One is about the facts. The other is about what is your opinion about those facts. Okay? And if you look at, I don't know if you ever have an opportunity to have notes or whatnot when you do some of these tests. If you look at these words that are in this Bloom's taxonomy, these are excellent words that will help you in writing essay questions because you can just pull them right out. Teachers will be like, "Ooh, that person is fancy." Like, "Ooh, look at that." Because to be quite honest, a lot of these words I don't use in my everyday language, right? Like, let me appraise this particular situation for its value in today's modern society. So I sound shiny. But those are some tips. Open book tests. We're going to talk about these because these are the tricker and the killers. How many people like open book tests? Okay. Why do you like them?
I usually know it well enough to at least know where to look.
Okay. You know what well enough? The book. Because you have studied, right? Open book tests only work if you've read the book. If you haven't read the book, An open book test can be just as difficult and a killer as other forms of tests. With an open book test, where are some places that you can look to find information? The glossary, the index, right? The glossary is the definition of the words at the end of the book. What is the index?
It has, like what section of the book that might be in.
Okay, so it has a list of topics, right? And then pages where you can find those topics. Another great place to look when you're doing an open book test is the summary. You'll be surprised at how valuable the summary is, because most of the main points of that whole chapter have been summarized at the end of the chapter. Also, if you're looking for vocabulary pieces and you have an open book test, lots of books have the sidebar where they put important information or concentrated information in the sidebars, either diagram or lists
or things like that in the side. So look at those things when you do book test. All right. The other thing that's extremely important when in doing any test is that you first make sure you put your name on it. Still going to say that. The second is that you follow the directions, that you read the directions, because the directions will tell you what to do. Okay? So, next I want to talk a little bit about test anxiety. What is that? What is test anxiety?
Being scared to take the test.
Being scared to take a test. All right? Overthinking the test. All right? What is fear? Actually, I think they mentioned it in the book. Fear is what? Look in the index, back of the book, and see if there's a. Yes. Yep, in the index there is fear, and see if you can go to that for me. The first person to find the definition of fear gets to buy me a soda.
Not it.
Just joking, just joking. I won't tell you that it's on page. Page. I'm not going to tell you. It's not page. No, I can't find it. It is. Yeah. I'll just write it up here for fear. Is false evidence appearing real. False evidence appearing real. So tell me, what is anxiety, first of all? What is anxiety?
Signal sent to your brain.
Okay. How to react to a situation. Anxiety. What is it? It's anxiety.
It's an unrealistic fear.
It's an unrealistic fear. Okay.
When you're worried about something?
When you're worried about something.
Feelings and emotions.
Okay. So I'll tell you a story about our ancestors. So, back in the day, we didn't used to live in houses. True. We used to live all over the place, right? Some of us lived in mountains, and some lived in great plains, and some lived in deserts, all sorts of stuff, right? So our ancestors are out there. As a human animal, just out there, just as a human being, out in the wild, how good are we by ourselves? I mean, our survival instinct, our bare hands ability to like survive by ourselves. How do you think we fare? What's that?
Bear Grylls can do it. There's a TV show, Man vs. Wild.
Okay.
He just went asking, like, Bear Grylls can do anything in the wild.
Well, he can do anything in the wild, right? What about the rest of us?
Depends how you approach the situation.
No, I mean as a group or a species, how do you think we would do out in the wild?
Probably not good.
Probably not good, right? Why? The thing that has made us very successful is two things. Actually, three things. One is that we have thumbs, which is extremely important because it allowed us to make what? Tools, right? So because we have thumbs, she's like, fire.
He said it, I'm laughing at
Oh.
fire.
Fire. That's, what's his name? In Butthead. Beavis and Butthead. Fire. Right? So we have thumbs, and we also have a big brain, which has been helpful to have in our survival, and we've been able to work together. Those three things have what's made us one of the three things that's made us successful, right? So, but back before we had houses and before we had teepees and that kind of stuff, we were kind of wandering the earth, and there are predators and prey, right? Before humans became predators, they were obviously prey, right? They were prey to what? To dinosaurs. Barney Rubble out there, right? But what were some of the things that would prey on humans, do you think? Even now, if we're out in the wild, what are some things that would prey on us? Bears, right? Yeah, over in actually in the county, they found a cougar. Somebody filmed a cougar, and people are really terrified about this cougar. Why are they terrified about this cougar? Because middle-aged women are scary. Okay, so it's easy to scare middle-aged women. Why else?
Sharp teeth.
It's out
They
of
got
our-
sharp too. Yeah, go
It's
ahead.
not something we're used to seeing. It's kind of out of our element.
It's out of our element, and if it's me and a cougar,
Socket, it ain't gonna do much.
right, I'm gonna lose, right? And so our ancestors realized that. And so when they heard a lion's roar, right, so they're in the Great Plains, and they hear this roar, and I don't know if that's not quite a lion, but, it's a roar nonetheless, right? So they hear this roar. What do they think? There are two responses that they have when they hear this lion's roar. Right?
Sounds like a bear.
Or bear, lion, But what are their two responses?
I'm gonna die.
Oh shit.
One is run. So they have flight or fight. I'm caveman. I'm gonna go after this lion. Rah! Right? So they're either gonna fight or they're gonna flight. Now, there's some emotional stuff that goes with that, right? So they get excited or they get fearful about what's about to happen. There's also some physiological changes that happen as a result of making these decisions, right? So first, these decisions are based on something called danger. Watch yourself. Know what you're working with, right? Okay. So they sense danger. They have a decision to make to either fight or flight, to run or to stand my ground, right? Based on danger. So they get the sense of danger and they decide that either they're going to run or they're going to fight. But either way, this physiological stuff starts to happen. So I'm feeling danger. So what physiologically happens to prepare me for what's about to happen? Either I'm going to run or I'm going to fight. First, go ahead.
Adrenaline.
Yeah, my adrenaline starts pumping, right? And what is adrenaline?
Kind of energy.
It's kind of energy, all right? It's a hormone that gets circulated through the blood. So my adrenaline starts pumping. What's pumping my adrenaline? My blood. What's pumping my blood? My heart. So my heart rate goes up, right? So before I was calm, but now I'm excited because I sense this danger. My heart rate starts going up, right? As my heart rate starts going up, what else starts to happen physiologically? I start to sweat. Why do I start to sweat? Because my body is saying, we're overheating, we got to prepare for this run or this fight that we're going to take, and we have to cool ourselves off. So I start sweating. Not only do I sweat, but I get goosebumps. What is goosebumps? Has anyone seen a cat when it's ready to fight
Yeah.
or it's in danger? What happens to it?
Their hair on the back of their back stands up.
The hair on the back of their back stands up.
Tail
And their tail puffs up, right? So they try to get bigger because they're going to fight. They're trying to intimidate the other thing. Well, a part of our system does the same thing, except we don't have, most of us, don't have a whole lot of fur left, right? So our reaction is to have that hair stand up on end so we get what? Starts with goose and ends in bumps.
Goosebumps.
We get goosebumps, right? So we get goosebumps. And also we're sweating, we're going to whip that stuff away. Now, the heart is pumping. Now, what is allowing the heart to pump like this? What is the heart pumping? Blood. To go where? Throughout the body, right? What's in the blood? Adrenaline is in the blood. What else? Starts with ox and ends in gin. Oxygen. Where does the oxygen come from?
Our lungs.
From your lungs. So not only is your heart pumping, your lungs are swelling up because you're getting more oxygen into your system so that the heart can pump it through. So your lungs swell up really big, but what's stopping your lungs? Your rib cage. So you have people who are now feeling uptight, right? Because now I have I'm danger, and my heart is, and my lungs are, and my chest is, and I'm and my skin is, and I'm sweating because I'm about to make a decision to either fight this lion or run. Right? So all of this stuff is happening, adrenaline is pumping, I'm starting to, all the stuff in my body is just going through these changes. The lion's running, I see the lion, and I decide I'm running. So I'm just going for it, right? Right? So after I do all that, what happens?
Catches you anyway.
It catches me anyway, right? So I run away, I escape from the lion. Now what happens to me?
Your adrenaline wears off.
My adrenaline wears off and I am exhausted. Why? Because I was able to use that energy. Let's fast forward thousands of years. 5 o'clock traffic, 494. Bumper to bumper traffic, nobody's moving. All of a sudden, I sense danger. What starts to happen?
You're adrenaline.
My adrenaline starts pumping.
Your lungs are pumping.
My heart starts pounding. My lungs start expanding.
Get ready to have a
My rib cage is holding my lungs down. My goosebumps start happening. I start sweating. I feel danger. I have a choice to fight or flight, and I can do neither. Anxiety, right? Anxiety is bad when you can't what?
Do anything about it.
Do anything about it. When you can't use it. Right? When I could use that anxiety to run away from that lion and jump over the gorges and dodge and run up a tree and climb a mountain to get away from the danger, when I could use that energy, it was good energy. But when I couldn't use it, what started to happen? It starts to feed on me, right? And the funny thing is, it starts to magnify. And so it turns from, this sense of danger I had, I really start to believe that this is now dangerous for me. And I love The Sopranos. I don't know if you ever saw that show, but I love The Sopranos. They didn't like black people, but I love them, right? But the main character, Tony Soprano, would have these anxiety attacks where he would just pass out, right? He would just faint. Because his anxiety was getting so out of control and he couldn't figure out ways to use that energy. All right? And a lot of times people have those things when it comes to tests. They say, I'm not good at tests because they're remembering all the other times in the past when they weren't good at tests. And then that starts to feed into their self-talk. But what have we learned that we can use to get rid of this feeling of danger? We just talked about it before the break. Affirmations, right? This is something I can do. I do well on tests. I'm able, I've studied, I know these tests, right? Because that's what psychologists, people who deal with anxiety issues, a lot of psychologists really work with them on their self-talk. I'm okay. This is a safe place. I can do this. Because there are tons of people who have all sorts of phobias, from feet phobias to agoraphobia, hanging out with other people, to germ phobias, and so to what?
Agoraphobia.
What is that?
Afraid to leave the house.
Yeah, agoraphobia, afraid to leave the house, that kind of stuff. So, and what they do is they really try to work with folks on their self-talk, so they can start talking to themselves a little bit better. All right. So we're going to do an example of this right now. So I'm going to give you a test, and we'll pass out the test. And yeah, so I want you to be relaxed. I'm going to give you the test face down, and then when I say go, I want to give everybody the same opportunity to take the test. All right? So you just leave it on your table face down.
Answers are just always good on tests, and then go back and change the answer.
Does anybody have anxiety?
Nope.
Okay.
We can do
Anybody?
it. We can do it.
Anybody get anxiety at all? Okay, good.
No,
Good.
give it to
So
me.
so just hold on to the test until I give everybody a copy. So I want everybody to start at the same time. And I will tell you that this is an open note, open book test that you can use.
If it was 98, we should build it.
All right. So, open note, open book test. I will give you, I don't know, about 20 minutes to take this test. You may begin now.
I have. I am the first person to reach this point, and I am the leader in the following directions. I am nearly finished. I have followed directions.
Tavares.
I have.
Jason.
Sarah? I have.
He's got about 5 minutes. And stop. All right. So,
What's the moral of the story? Step one. Follow directions.
so the most important thing in taking a test is what?
Remember the directions?
Following the directions. And what does the direction number 1 say?
Read everything carefully.
That's right. And what does 22 say?
Go back and do 1 and 2.
It was funny when you got that. You were like, oh.
That was pretty good. He's like, ow.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's okay, man.
No.
I'd like to rate your test.
This is a self-grading test. Self-grading test. Why would I do something like this?
To see if people follow directions.
To see if you follow directions. Okay. Yeah. Again, one of the most important parts in doing any test taking is making sure that you're clear about what they're asking and what the directions are, and that you follow those directions. Because that can save you a lot of time and anguish on the test. How many people thought this test was kind of silly when you first started? Nobody thought it was silly?
I've seen it before.
Okay. Oh, you've seen it before?
I had to take this in high school.
Okay. Cool.
I knew it was good.
So you
No, I read everything carefully before doing anything, and then I jumped down to question number 22 right away, going. But I did write my name right away because that's the first thing you do when you take a test.
That's right.
I wrote my name, and then I read, and then
So, how many people were nervous about approaching this test when I said we're going to take one? Nobody was nervous? Good, because I got a real one now. Okay, I'm
You ain't that
joking.
good.
I'm joking. You said I'm not that good? Okay. Maybe next week I'll have a real
just
one
had a
for
stack
you.
of papers. I went, all right, here we go.
Here we go, man. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, essays. Maybe we'll do essays next week.
pick a good topic.
Pick a good topic. Okay.
Healthcare.
I'll keep my gun, my health care, and my paycheck.
Yep.
You take the change. I saw that on the back of somebody's truck. And a gun rack.
I like that one.
Right off
You gotta
the
get that one for your car.
right off. You're gonna buy it right off the guy.
I'd go just take it right off and just lick it, stick it on my window or something.
So.
Nice.
Ugh, that'd be nasty. Look at somebody else.
Road salt on it.
Yeah. Ugh.
I'm sure he cleaned it before I put the sticker on. Fine.
Okay. So, yeah. So I like doing that because usually it scares people. And
Can I have
then,
a blank copy of that? I would like
yes,
to use it for next work at work.
yes, you can. You got to give me credit and put my name right here.
Okay.
I'm just-
Put a reference, please.
What's that?
You got right on it.
No, yeah, you can get a blank copy. Yep, so I'll give you a blank copy. So what do you do icebreakers for?
Starting.
Oh, okay. Cool. What kinds of stuff have you done in the past? Or have they done?
2 truths and a lie?
Yeah.
Yeah, as in you know that, or?
Yeah, I mean, no, that's obviously a good one. No, actually, I knew you did that. I'm just,
I don't remember what else we've done. We haven't done one for a long time.
okay. Cool. Cool. So there is that stuff. The online class stuff, just, I'm getting caught up on all that stuff, and so your grades and stuff should be in there. Did anyone see their grades in the online class stuff? No? Anybody
As
looking?
of when?
As of last week. Yeah, as of last week, all that stuff was updated, so your class participation points are in there and other stuff. So, so there is that stuff. I'll give you back. I didn't find your presentation stuff until tonight, so I'll make sure you get that stuff next week. Okay.
What are we supposed to be doing online? All the lessons or
Yes. Or
just the discussion?
both. Yeah, both. Okay. So both. Yeah, and we talked about week 7, which is cubing, and that lesson sucks. Yeah. So just talk about class stuff we talked about in class, and do some reflections on that. Okay. And for the other lessons, do the same. All right. So read that stuff. Read somebody else's. Make a comment. Blah 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 blah.
I think there's only 2 discussions for this. There's only a couple.
I'll keep these.
There's a
th-
few papers.
Yeah. It's just a few papers, and actually, I passed out the packet with all the questions and stuff in it. Did everybody get that?
Okay.
Call it syllabus.
Actually, it's not the syllabus, but it is similar to the syllabus. It looks like this, and it has chapter 1. Chapter 2 is 3-hole punched.
Sure is.
This is the same as what is online. Bam! You got it, Ben.
So this is what
That's
we
where I
did.
got that from. I did that today.
What's that?
That damn thing. I couldn't remember where I got it from.
You got it from. I'm rubbing off! I've had impact!
You're laughing
She's-
so pleased.
She's going to be dreading her hair soon.
Probably not.
Oh, I hope not, actually.
Ready to start any
You
test.
can.
Read the whole thing.
So does that make sense, Ben? Do you see
So
these?
this is what we do with our lessons.
Bam! Yes.
You got it.
Not working.
Go, Ben.
Friday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you done yours? Your online pieces?
Bonus payout tomorrow.
Okay, so you're caught up. Cool,
They
cool.
froze ours this year.
Oh, that's-
Froze your pay increase?
Pay increase, bonuses, everything.
Dang, I'm living like AIG up in this piece. I got a pay
Gas card
increase,
got
a
taken
bonus,
away.
your gas card.
Gas card away.
Dang. Oh, one thing I did not get a chance to ask you was the conversation. Ow! The conversation. I wanted to get your impression of the conversation that we had when the other class was in, because we ran out of time to talk about that stuff. Were there any thoughts or comments or observations about that particular conversation? Do you guys remember?
You know, it's-
Yeah.
when it comes to talking about that kind of stuff, people get really hesitant. It seemed like people kind of were waiting for other people to speak before they said something, because they didn't want to say the wrong word or come off the wrong way. I noticed that, when we were in class a little bit, people were hesitant on responding to how they would react, because it might look like a racist or sort of
Yeah. Yeah. Other folks, what were some other thoughts about that conversation? I would agree with you. I think people were hesitant to talk about it, and I think they were hesitant to talk about it because they didn't seem like a racist.
Especially, having where is he from? His accent sound
Who is he?
The teacher.
George?
George, yeah.
He's from here.
He sounded like he had a thick accent from another country or something like that.
I don't think so. Yeah, I think he's from Boston. It's a whole nother country,
It is.
Big time.
Right. Other folks, other impressions, thoughts.
Well, when we were doing that little exercise, it just seemed, they were pretty hesitant on kind of voice, or at least the gal I was working with. She was, so, what do you think?
I'll feel for the answer.
Yeah, she was just kind of hesitant on
Mine
expressing
wasn't.
what she was
Right.
thinking.
Right. Yeah, and why do you think people are hesitant like that?
You're afraid to be wrong.
Okay.
Free to speak up.
They don't know us.
Yeah.
They haven't had a class with us. So
Yeah.
we're all kind of used to each other now, so.
At least half of us
Yeah.
are used to each other.
Yeah.
Sure.
Ben. I obviously thought it was important to talk about in the context of this class being success strategies. Why do you think I would think that was an important conversation to have?
Well, ignorant society. You're going to have hatred. It's just going to hold you down and hold you back.
Okay. So throw ignorance aside.
Yeah.
Okay.
The more knowledge you have, the better decision making.
Okay.
Yeah.
The more knowledge you have, the better decision making you can have or do.
Kind of got the quote from Gandhi, "You change you want to see the world."
Okay.
Because it's like you don't stand up, you don't do anything. It just lays where it's at. When you need to take it out, it's kind of like if you had a problem with somebody, would you take it out with them, or would you back down?
Mm-hmm.
So put that in perspective with like anybody else. So you see somebody else being hated on or whatever it is, you either be the change you want to see or play the sideline.
Yeah. There's a story that kind of goes with that, be the change you want to see. Gandhi was a Hindu, and in India, under British rule, the British did a really good job of trying to break up solidarity, meaning make so that the people weren't all together as one unit. And so they helped to institute the caste system, as well as drove a real stake between the Christians and the Hindu and the Muslims, as a matter of fact. But mostly, I guess, Muslims and Hindu. The Christians were such a small minority that they didn't play a big role. But at any rate, so on the heels of kind of this Gandhi's movement for independence for India, there was still struggle between the Hindus and the Muslims, and so a man came to Gandhi wanting to kill the Muslims, and because the Muslims had done something to him, and so Gandhi turns to him, and he comes to Gandhi with a question. He was like, "Gandhi, what do I do? Because I want to kill these Muslims because they've killed my son." And going back to this, be the change you want to see in the world, Gandhi turns to this man and he says something that's really profound, and I don't think people do it enough today, or actually realize how profound it was that when he said this. And what he said is, I want you to go find a Muslim orphan and raise him as your own. Sounds pretty simple, right? But why did Gandhi say that? Why did he want this Hindu man to go find a Muslim orphan and raise him as his own son? What do you think Gandhi was saying? Why would he suggest that? That sounds crazy. Why would I take somebody from a different way of life, a different belief system, and then raise them as my own son? Why would I do that? What's that?
You'd be learning from it.
I'd be learning from him.
There's love, you can get from anywhere, even besides race or creed, it doesn't matter. If you show them good emotions, they'll show it back. Like a relationship, or it could actually be his son, type of thing. And you won't have such hate towards just a certain color or religion or anything like that.
Yeah. Part of what he was trying to get to was both of your points, right? That somebody has to break the cycle of hatred. And who better to start with than a child? And who better to learn than a father? Right? And so, when we start seeing our enemies' kids as our kids, and I won't even go as far as say as enemy, because I think there's a lot of stuff right here within our borders of the United States, actually in the Twin Cities, actually between Minnetonka and North Minneapolis, that folks, part of our problem is we don't see all of these children as our children. We see them as somebody else, the other. And what Gandhi was saying is, until we see the other as our children, as us, then we won't be able to make those strides and be as free as we'd like to be. And so when he said that, that's the other part of be the change you want to see in the world. So do something, be active in creating that kind of change. So other things. Okay. On the heels of that, I'm dealing with something right now at work that I want to get your thoughts on. And you may have heard about this. There was a football player at Centennial High School, African American, who was sent a text message, a text picture from other football players who were quote unquote his friends. That it was a picture of a noose and a sign behind the noose that said "Niggers for sale." And they sent this text to this kid, and he was obviously upset and all these things. What do you think should have happened to the kids involved? They should have gotten
Was
expelled.
it on or off premises of the school?
It was on his phone.
But was this sent while he was at
Bullying,
school?
bullying, no matter where it is.
Yeah, but if it's outside of school, I don't see how, it's like with everyone getting punished for what they put on Facebook. If it's outside of school, I think the school should just ball it out. If there's a problem between the parents, you can sit down and discuss or something like that, take that initiative over making the school step in and suspending them, because now you're just robbing them of their education. What they did was bad, but if it wasn't done at school or on school premises or in a school activity, the school should have no part of it.
I don't know, I think if the person brings it up to the school, though, they do get involved into it. And by them getting involved in it, yeah, they don't have to expel them, the realm of education, but there's so many other alternatives that they can easily do, because of just some small involvement can stop it right there, and then rather it grow into something a lot more bigger and more major.
I know the text you're talking about. Actually, I had a friend of mine send it. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I have seen it.
It's pretty
That's
messed
the
up.
one.
Yeah, I guarantee.
And he's no. I saw it already.
Yeah,
But they sent it to you.
There was one of those mass text things.
Oh, I'd be so mad if I got that one.
But I mean, it even came from a person that's not even a friend of mine that's not even racist in any means. Yes, obviously there's some thing there if she had a nerd or had sent it out, but she, it doesn't bother her. I mean,
It doesn't bother her that,
Well, she's married to a Mexican, so I mean, she could be just got it and was just pouring it out or whatever, but.
if it bothered her, would have just deleted it.
Yeah, I didn't send it out, but I have seen it and I had saved it on my phone. It's just in my call log or my message logs of pictures. I can see how someone could get offended by it, but if it's not done at school, school should have no part of it. Parents need to sit down and discuss, or put them together, like, all right, it's hate, it's not welcome, it's a derogatory term, and go from there. And the school wants to step in, and they should step in as a counseling aspect of it, not as a suspension. If they're an educational institution, they should step in as an educational institution and educate them on how bad that is, how people can get offended or hurt or something like that.
Yes, ma'am. Your hand was like up in the air.
It's no different. Last year, my middle daughter, had gotten a text from this one girl saying, F you, I'm gonna get you and stuff. Her phone wasn't even at school. But she felt threatened enough by this girl that I had to go to the school, talk to the principal, assistant principal, her teachers, because we did not know what this girl was going to do. A year later, she still has to watch her back.
Yeah. Yeah, and the only difference between your two stories is that, first of all, terrorism is illegal. And hate crimes are federal crimes, so they're not even state crimes. So the forwarding of that is actually an act of a hate crime. And technically, everyone who holds that picture or forwards that picture is an accessory to a crime of hate, which is a federal offense. So I just wanted to throw that out there and just see what you guys thought about that.
Definitely, it should be parents. I think should be pulled in the top to what's going on in their household, that they would have that kind of hatred or whatever, that kind of attitude.
But you have the thing.
I have over 800 texts on my phone
Right, I'm
that I
just
haven't
saying.
deleted yet.
Right.
When it gets full, I go through and I wipe out everything. It's just, if you look at it and you just think it's stupid or whatever, it's like, oh, all right, whatever. Close it, and it's forgotten about. I don't sit there and forward it and text it, show people. It obviously didn't bother me getting it, but
It should.
It should, because it could be turned back on you,
Well,
If
your
you
kid,
were-
what happens if your child?
You said kind of like now. Yeah.
Again, like I said, when I clean up my text messages. I go
But
through
no.
it.
But this is not about you. It's about what I was talking about when Gandhi said, "Be the change," and he said, "Raise that child like it's your child." Part of what is keeping us stagnant as a country is we don't necessarily see all of these problems as all of our problems. We see it as, those poor people over there need to get their stuff together, or those rich people need to quit spending so much of, poor people's money, and blah, 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 as opposed to, using our name as what we're supposed to be is united. We're the United States of America. But I see more division because we're not able to step out and see how we're all.
Nice to start to get away from persecution of religion and stuff like that.
That's part of it.
I mean, and right away they turn away back into the United States of hatred, slavery, and how we treated the Native Americans and so forth. And the history itself of the United States is all hate.
I wouldn't say that. First of all, I will be the first to say that this is the greatest country on the face of the planet. We do things and have ways of relating with each other that are so unique from other parts of the world. We have problems. Other places have problems. So I'm not so quick to beat up on Old Glory and beat up on the United States.
If you look about different natural disasters and things in the world, who's the first country on site 95% of the time? It's the US.
Yeah. So I'm not quick to beat up on us, but I will say that there are some things that we definitely can work on, and a lot of the things that we can work on is the fear we have of ourselves. You know, the worst thing that terror does is it makes us feed on ourselves, and I think you know, we've looked at, I have some personal stuff and I'll just spew it, but I think we've looked at external terrorism so much that we haven't looked at the economic terrorism that a lot of these large banks and companies have done to us that make us feed on ourselves. And so, yeah, I mean, no, I you know, I don't like hearing people beat up on us.
Look at 9/11. I mean, people are like, oh, our country united together. Everyone was together. We're Americans. No, everyone united except for I would say we, but people had the hatred like we watched in the video. You know, they just picked another race to have the hatred on and blew them out. Even though they live here, they're Americans. I'm sure, you know, it affected their life too.
Yeah.
I was gonna tie back to that video too, but in the, I don't remember what the numbers were, 13, 7.
I think they're on that card, 13, 22.
But the text example is similar to the example of the video. Is you've got the group that's gonna forward it on, the group that's gonna delete it, and the group that's gonna write back and say, don't send me shit like that. But I would be the one that would write back and say, don't send me that. I don't wanna see that. And then I delete it. You know, and so it kind of, as small as it is almost the exact same.
Yeah, thank you. That was great.
I was trying to figure out how to word it. I kept thinking, I'm like, think of that video, but
Yeah. Yeah. Because, to be quite honest, I don't get texts like that. I don't get pornos.
There's no dirty texts.
I don't get dirty texts. People don't send me that stuff, and I think it's a couple of things. One is the people that I hang around don't get those.
Which, I mean, it's like she's not even my generation. She just turned 41,
Yeah.
and I'm 27, and it's like,
But it's
But-
just because it's my generation.
Yeah.
I don't ever get any of that stuff.
Yeah, and so again, and I said this before, and I think it, and I don't want to pick on you. I'm glad you have that. So, but the level of our success is largely determined. No, we can look at our level of success by looking at who we hang around. Birds of a feather do flock together. I mean, that is, you know. And so what I often do is look at who I'm hanging around and who's hanging around me, because that's the level of success I'm going to have. And if I don't like these cats, then I need to hold on to my goals a little harder and start looking for new mentors. There are lots of folks that have been, they have decided to cut themselves off from me because there are certain things that I won't tolerate. You know, I have some black friends who have some very strong feelings about white people that are negative, and I can't have that in my life. You know, and vice versa. I have some white friends and some mixed friends that have feelings about other groups and stuff. And, some of the stuff I just can't have in my life, and so I don't get those things. So that's interesting. Go ahead.
I think that's kind of funny. I was just looking at the diagram up here and stuff. If you think about it, if we're sent a text message and we keep it on and just don't do nothing with it, it kind of ties in with the video. But now, when you see the text message, you know what it means, you know that it involves hate, and that hate is also going to sit there and carry on. Where do you think it goes? Does it go to your conscious? Or your
Yes.
subconscious?
Yeah. Or your subconscious, yeah. Yeah. You know. And we all have stuff. So I kind of want to shift a little bit from the text message, but I want us to think about that. Now, this was really interesting because I asked this question and it was on one of the cards. It was the first question, question A. What do I like about my race? And it was very interesting how people who identified themselves as white started off telling me what they didn't like. And that's not what I asked. And so I think that is something that we have to start having conversations about. Like, why don't people? Because when I don't feel good about me, I can let these other things happen because I don't feel good about you either. You know, what's the you know, and you'll see this in movies and stuff all the time. But what's the most dangerous man? Who's the most dangerous man? A man with nothing to lose, right? You know, but we all got stuff to lose in this game, you know. So, yeah. Oh, that's funny. Question E. A time when I did not interrupt an act of discrimination and prejudice was. And F. A time when I did. That we didn't get a chance to get to those. Yeah. And then I like the J's on the back. There are the two J's, I and a J. I is democracy is. And then J, the first J is what are some barriers to applying democracy? What is democracy? How would you define that?
Free government.
Is what? We're a democracy.
Freedom to speech and just isn't it like an open? I don't know what
Okay.
You have your
all the
freedom.
rights we have here in the U.S. Isn't that a democracy? I mean, how our government's run, the right to vote, right to assemble.
Yep. It's primarily the one thing that you said, which was the right to vote. Right? There's a particular way that we vote. And what is that?
Private ballot.
Private ballot, but what are the results of that private ballot?
But it's everyone, you know, everyone can.
Everybody's equal.
Everybody's
Every
equal,
vote counts.
but democracy is 51%. People vote, and the 51% majority rules. That is what we talk about in terms of democracy. Right. And it is all those other things too. It's about the liberty. I mean, so the system of democracy is 51% majority rules. But then the loftier kind of concept is all those things about freedom and liberty and being able to speak and all of that stuff because of the system. Do you think that are there barriers to democracy in the United States? Are there barriers to people
I think
participating?
still today there is.
Okay. What might be some of those barriers?
There's never been a female president.
Okay, so there's never been a female president, so that could be a barrier. Okay. Other barriers to democracy.
Up until last year, there was never a black president.
Okay. So there's a barrier that may have been broken, but it's still kind of a thin barrier. Yeah. Other folks, other barriers to democracy.
Government still has power to take what they want.
The government has the power to take what they want. Eminent domain.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Could your barriers be really used as anything? Because if we live in a democracy where a majority rules and that majority has a certain bias, those could be the barriers or our barriers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and you also, if there's legislation to be voted on, and the lobbyists get in there and grease the palm of certain congressmen, or that's a barrier, because it's not unbiased vote from that congressman.
Mm-hmm.
For example, like the
You're
healthcare
right.
thing, people are going back and forth, let's have, everyone have healthcare. Well, let's let the people vote, not have a bunch of guys be elected in office. It should be kind of like a census thing. I mean, I think that would be the best way. What do the people have to say? Not, I may have voted for somebody to get into office, but I may not believe with everything that they follow.
Yeah. That, my friend, is democracy. We have a representative democracy.
Yeah, but
You
sometimes
voted-
the options aren't that great. So you just kind of got to go, oh, well, here we go.
Yep. And that's where the people have to step up. That's where we as individuals. No, I'm not talking about that.
No, you need to be educated on, say, your president. You need to, look into their background and look at what their beliefs are and who they associate with to make an educated decision on who you vote for.
Yep.
It's either Republican, Democrat, or, that's basically what the election comes down to.
Yeah.
And people can be pro-choice, but anti-gun.
Yeah. And
Or
I-
for guns, I mean. So
and I
now
wanna-
you got Republicans for guns and pro-choice with Democrats.
Yeah, and I would encourage you that those folks probably have the least amount of impact on our day lives, and our county commissioners and our state representatives probably have the greatest impact on our day-to-day lives. And so, when we talk about, because a lot of times people get really dispassionate about the national elections and those kinds of things because they see themselves as, I'm a grain of sand on a beach, I can't make a difference, blah, blah, blah. But the difference that actually we can really make, and that's really important, is at our local level and making sure that the folks who represent us in those other offices come from what we believe in at our local level. And, yeah, so.
Well, just like the guy that crashed the plane in the IRS building. He wrote thousands of letters, spent thousands of his own money, and everything like that, and not one call was returned, nothing was sent back to him. There was no reaction. The guy just blew him off. And, a lot of people could do that. We could all write letters, but unless they take the initiative up top,
Yeah, and
we're talking to a wall.
Yeah, and that's why coalitions are important, because one person doing a thing is a rogue or maverick kind of thing.
Even the president can't control the IRS. They don't report to him. They report to the federal.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that the president can't do that people think that he should or could or will and that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I just wanted to get your thoughts, you guys' thoughts on that stuff.
Hey, Andre, you ever check out a site called Soul Pancake?
No, sir.
Check it out. It's www.soulpancake.com, and it's just you chew on life's biggest questions. Like that's all you do is you go on there and you answer questions, or you post your own, and it can be like one of them was like, do atheists deserve to be in the divine future if there is one? And you get to read what people think, and you get to feel. I love the site. I'm on it every day, just reading stuff, and It's just people trying to expand their knowledge of what they know and don't know from the community,
Sweet,
so.
sweet, sweet, sweet. Yeah.
So,
Soul pancake. It's on my list.
He's from the office. Dwight from the office.
Uh-huh.
He's the one that created it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
I think you'll really get into it.
You know, you think about most of the actors on The Office are Ivy League educated.
what's that?
Yeah.
Did, Matt Dana just hosted a thing not too long ago, 2 months back. Got all the actors on there speaking about the past and stuff like that.
Please tell me, because I'll look that up.
It's a History Channel thing.
Okay.
I'll get back to you on that. I'll send you an email or something like that. But it's like We the People or something like that. People Speak or something. I'll email it to you.
Okay, please do.
I got it on People.
Okay.
It's pretty amazing. I mean, they have all these famous actors and people coming up there, and they just read things off from the past and how they used to speak, and they talk about it. It's pretty amazing.
Cool. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah. Let's see. I was trying to think of something else, but I think that's it. Because my head is hurting. My head is hurting. Just remember, mamas, don't let your babies grow up to be cowboys. You guys remember that song? No? Okay. It's from Alvin and the Chipmunks. It was a Chipmunk song. And also Glenn Campbell, I think, sung it. Anybody remember Glenn Campbell?
That
No.
was a really.
Matt Davis. Matt Davis, going once, going no. Lawrence Welk. No.
I like that one. It's John.
Take this job and shove. I ain't working here no more. So I think that is it. That's going to wrap up our class tonight. I appreciate your hard work and effort. What's that?
Your kid knows I'm gonna hide this.
What do you think about the school stepping in on that? On what you're taking care of?
I think it was appropriate. There's some back history stuff where the parents have been really trying to work with the school on this stuff, and so this was just.
Do you think the kids should be suspended?
I think he should be suspended, probably not expelled. What I do know is that he did have to take some classes at the U.
So that's what should happen. You should be forced to take classes.
Yeah, so he took classes at the U, and we don't know if the feds are going to press charges or not.
Really, they're going that?
It's a federal crime. It's A, terrorism, and B, is a hate crime because they sent it to him. Like for you to get the text, it's not a hate crime. For him to get the text, it's a hate crime, especially since he didn't ask for it.
It's like if they would have sent one to a gay person that said,
Right.
hate, whatever.
Right. You know, so there is that. So make sure you call your moms and dads so they can come get you. What's that?
What if there's a joke going back and forth between two people, not saying this one, but then all of a sudden one guy gets mad and starts running, hey, crank.
Well, it depends on who the two people are and what the history of that discussion has been.
But these guys are teammates. Did they hang out at all outside of school, or were they just teammates on a team? Or?
There's a lot of history
I mean,
with this stuff.
if these kids have past issues with conflict and these kind of, texts and stuff.
Check into these three bands right here. And I don't know if you ever heard Flowbots, you know the song I Can Ride My Bike with No Handlebars?
Yeah.
All right, well, that's a song about being in America, about how we have the opportunity, what we've been talking about. And a lot of the stuff that I like is, you know, like they have the anti-political music and, you know, it's like F the government, F society. Well, Flowbots talks about the same thing, you know, being the change, you even get reference to it. And then Wookie Foot has a lot of stuff like that. And then I think you might like Modest Mouse, and there's a song called Parting of the Sensory.
Uh-huh.
And it talks about how our bodies are made out of carbon, and when we die, something else is going to steal our
I
carbon.
have it on my iPad if you want to listen to it.
That is cool.
But Modest Mouse, I got into him a lot, and there's another song called The Never Ending Math Equation.
and it talks about how the plants and the animals there are land and the plants and the animals eat each other. And it's like, it just gets so involved in, like, they just sing about life terms and, like, just questions that you just get always thinking.
Cool.
And that's, like, I love music that does that. Like Pink Floyd being one of them, you know, it gets
Yeah.
the brain working.
It's like, cool.
Should I call my mom and see if she's alright with Jacob?
Yeah.
We're gonna let mom watch our son today.
Cool. Well, I'm glad you could join our class.
Me too. Your guys' class is a lot more fun than mine is.
She wants to try getting switched here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, because ever since she's been there, they messed up everything on her way of coming in, classes, and unprofessional all the way around. Hey, what's up? No, I was just getting done with class. Just getting done with class. Well, she's with me. She actually came to my class with me. My teacher said it was alright.
Carbon's anniversary.
Oh, geez. Yeah, so we should be there like in 15, 20 minutes.